Hello, this is Soundvox 1, and today we have Lego Transformers Thundercracker. A Thundercracker here is a much different looking seeker than the other seekers that I had created. He is completely constructed differently, from his back wings to the length of his actual nose cone. Even the wings are completely reconstructed, and he's got big pew-pew guns here. The idea with his big guns is simply, he's Thundercracker. He cracks the thunder. Loud, noisy, large. That's what I get from Thundercracker. And he's got these large thrusters on the back. So the ideas from this Thundercracker is there was a leader class Thundercracker released in the Classics line. So I've always kind of pictured Thundercracker as larger than Starscream and Skywarp. So even though in most all media they are exactly the same size. But then again, they're all exactly the same mold. But not in my Lego world. So let's get the others over here and do a quick comparison. Now you can see when comparing Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker, Thundercracker is a slightly larger build. While they all look similar as similar jets, they all have a slightly different build style, and they look just different enough to make each one their own individual creation. Okay, so let's go over Thundercracker's design elements. He's got the longer nose cone piece, which I actually used a thicker component than the other seekers. On top of that, he's got this orange cockpit. I forget if his is orange or clear, but I like the orange. I think it really pops with the color scheme here. I have two different shades of blue on this guy, a lighter blue and a darker blue, and I think that looks real nice. He's got his gray intakes, just like Skywarp did. And the back end is a little different. I have these cheese blocks, these slope pieces here to make kind of like the tail wings. And then we have these large thrusters for subsonic speeds, you know, cracking Mach speeds, the sound of thunder, Thundercracker. I've also redesigned the wings. So they have these two triangular pieces, one on the back, one on the front, and they're linked on a hinge here. So it'll make the transformation a lot different. Okay, so let's get to the main event. Let's transform Thundercracker. To transform him, first you want to take off his exhaust cones here. And I know that seems like a bit of parts transforming. And I'm not very much a fan of parts transforming. But when it comes to this guy, you'll see why in a bit. Okay, next, let's start like the rest of our guys and turn our nose cone down. When we turn our nose cone down, we reveal a face, but you can see the underside looks a little different than the other guys. So, let's work on some legs. Over here, where we took those two pieces off, we're going to just take this piece. I have this nice hingy piece in here, these two Lego blocks with this nice hinge piece that goes in and out. It's pretty neat. And I have a ball joint here, so we can actually rotate this whole assembly around. And it fits right between these blocks with one space. So my ball joint space can fit in, and then my cockpit can fold down. And it gives him a little bit of kind of leg articulation, because you can kind of move his legs around. Next are the wings. For Thundercracker, instead of turning the wings around, I'm just rotating my wings upward. Oops. Cockpit keeps breaking off. That one stud is just not strong enough for it. Okay, let's try that again. So let's turn this wing up. Now you can see his arms look kind of weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate them. This is a nice little block that has two studs, one on one side, one on the other. So I'm using stud friction here just to rotate the block down. And then we rotate his arms forward. Same here. Rotate it down. Sometimes you want to go just a little further so it's easier to rotate forward. Rotate it forward. Now, let's take those thruster pieces and stick them on the end of his cannons here, on the end of his, not really null rays because only Starscream has the null rays. So these are just cannons. So now he's got big thunder cracking cannons. And his wings are upward, kind of like the Seekers, but a little different design. Not so much the same. It's an interesting transformation. I really like it. I think it's different, yet it looks similar. And I like the way these tan pieces highlight a different look to him. He's still got his same silver chest and his blue cockpit hanging down. And you got his little feet and his arms. And his arms are on stud friction, so they can move up and down. You can pose him. And you can hold things in his hands. And then his ball joint again allows us to move him. So we can have him slightly posed differently the way he's standing. So here we have the fully transformed Thundercracker. So let's give a quick comparison between him and our other two Seekers. So you can see next to the other two Seekers, Thundercracker does quite tower over them. He is a much larger figure than the other two, but not much larger than Skywarp. And he's built differently. His arms are much different. I like Thundercracker's arms a lot better than I like my first two Seekers' arms. They just seem more versatile, they're longer, and they have better cannons on them. So there we have Thundercracker and his buddies, the Seekers. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Why, looky here. Who do we have? Oh, but the fearless Seeker leader Starscream. Ha 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 ha.